Alrighty.
Thank you so much, everybody. Welcome back to the Bazz Reviews YouTube channel. I'm your host, Bazz. And today is a very special day. It's one of the first interviews I've done in a very long time, but it is with a very special guest. As you can see on my left, we are with Only Small Bites. How you doing today, man?
Special guest. Wow, what an honor. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very happy that you've chosen to do this interview with me. I'm honored. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm very excited.
Well, I appreciate you accepting the offer. It means a lot. Again, as I mentioned, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so it's exciting to have you here and kind of get some hype up for what you're doing down the road. It's a lot of great stuff. But first question here, just a little over a year ago, you were celebrating 300 subscribers on your Twitter page, and now you're really quickly approaching 140,000. So congrats to all of the success that you've had. But how have you reacted to it all?
Huh. It's kind of interesting because like I see these numbers like sort of as just milestones in a bigger picture. So like for me, even back when I was celebrating 300, like I was still like, okay, like this is cool and all, but like I want to see this like really become something. Like it'd be
Right.
cool if it could really become something. And yeah, as I was working on just making more videos and everything, when I hit 100,000, like I was super ecstatic. My neighbors could probably hear me, but yeah, like but I also kind of see these as yeah, like I was saying, just like milestones in like just a bigger picture, because like I have so much that like I want to do in terms of like YouTube and music and everything, that like I'm just more excited to just see everything kind of play out and see where everything goes. Um and just what I can do just here while I'm making my little cartoons.
Absolutely, yeah. And you mentioned music there for a second. You started out on your channel doing Kanye instrumental remakes, but where did your like love for music initially develop?
Ooh. So now that is a loaded question, but just to simplify it, I can honestly say that my love for music came maybe around when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
Like that was when I really started developing a love and like an interest for like music culture. Because like up until that point, like you can just like hear songs and like you can hear them on the radio, or like a friend will show them to you and you're like, okay, yeah, that was cool, or like that, yeah, that sounded nice, but like you don't really care about like, okay, who like the artist is or what album it's from or any of that stuff. Like you can't just listen to a song.
Right.
Yeah, that was me up until like age 7, 8, and then I had an epiphany when I found this one music video when I was on my computer one day, and yeah, I heard the song and I was like, oh, this sounds like pretty good. Like who is this guy? So then I was just researching, and then yeah, and then in doing that, that's when I started developing an interest for things like albums and things like artists and like what a single is and all that stuff. And then like it kind of every from that moment it kind of just snowballed into what I am today.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. It's just like by the time you're, a teenager, it's like you're already probably knowing as much as like, some record executive. You probably got enough knowledge to make it, right?
Record executive. I wouldn't know if I go that far, but
Hey,
I mean,
whatever you want.
it,
Why not, right?
but yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, yeah, obviously, yeah. But by the time I hit my teens, I was really like, yeah, I would say that I was really in tune with music culture for sure. Like just hearing about new artists and going on websites to like find new bands and like new acts and new artists and yeah, like new artists and whatnot. Um, like yeah, I used to frequent a couple hip hop forums, but then I kind of just stopped after a bit. But yeah, after that I kind of took a break and I was just kind of just finding stuff my own, and just like hearing stuff online and getting new stuff that way.
What did that do for your taste overall? Just like being able to not be under like the guide of like, forums and whatever, like just discovering music on your own? Like, was that like a bigger step for you in your musical journey, or no?
Um, I don't know. I think it kind of I think it has its pros and cons. Obviously you're not exposed to as much things. Like you can't go out and hear as like take in as much recommendations and stuff like that that like somebody really online would be. But like I would be lying if I said that I didn't find joy in finding music organically for a bit,
Right.
as in this like just going on YouTube and just like seeing what's in my recommended, or like going on what is it, back on MTV when MTV still used to play music videos,
Right.
or like just yeah, just like music related TV shows and like networks and all that stuff. Or and even just like recommendations from people, like either friends or family, just be like, hey, check this out. And it's like, okay. And then you check it out, and it either is amazing and it blesses your ears, or it sucks and you throw it right back at them. You say, never give me that again.
Right. There you go. No, I think that's interesting because when I was sort of getting into music, I really didn't, I wasn't super skilled on the internet. So I guess most of the stuff I sort of just discovered, I guess organically, but not like I was looking at like, oh, like best albums of all time list and just kind of going through that. I wasn't really like getting a lot of
Right, right.
from people because, a lot of people that I knew just listened to pop music. So I was like, well, I don't really want to listen to that anymore. So you know what I mean? I was clearly not into it as much as you were, but um, yeah, I think we sort of took different approaches with
Different
how we
paths.
discovered our music.
That is completely fair. Hey man, you can't go wrong with some good Black Eyed Peas from
Right.
2010.
Exactly. No, I mean, the energy never dies. A great record, a lot of really great songs on there. I got a lot of nostalgia for that record. It's a
That
fun
was
one to
an
go back and listen to from
insane
time to time.
record.
Right.
So good
I mean,
times, good
obviously,
stuff.
it's no Revolver, it's no Pet Sounds, but still, it's good. It's just a fun listen once in a while.
It does its job, and like that's the thing I find with like this kind of like just like that hate for like pop music in general, where it's just like, oh, like it's not like deep and like it's not as layered as like so and so and so and so. And I'm kind of looking at it like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to serve its purpose of being a pop song, right? And that's what they do, and they're good at it. So they just
Way of
that's what
putting
they
it,
do, and it works.
like,
You know,
we're all critical of, oh, this is so derivative, oh, this is so generic, but again, it's serving its purpose, I guess. It's meeting its audience. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to the listener or whatever. But
for
uh,
sure. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of junk out there. Like
yeah,
there's a
of
lot
course,
of junk.
of course, of course.
But like just for the purpose, like guys like Will, like just on that again, just like guys like Will I am, like I have a lot of respect for him because like he's a very talented musician. And yeah, like he makes his pop tunes and stuff like that. But like when he works with other people and like when he's producing beats and all that, like he's a really skilled guy. Like he gets his props from peers, and like he's friends with all these guys that are like everyone's super critical about, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. No, everybody's got to make their living somehow, right? So whether that means you're producing for, all the just generic pop musicians out there, you're still serving your job and doing your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Make the
Yeah, but
money.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you just a minute ago, but
I
switching
know, right?
here, some of the influences to start your own channel, just curious to know, like, were there any YouTubers, just anybody out there that just was when you were starting your channel, just like, yeah, this guy I really like and I kind of want to mimic him or her or them in your style.
Hmm. So I used to do. Hmm. I used to do a lot of like animation just growing up. Um. Yeah, I used to animate in like a bunch of different facets. But in terms of direct influence, hmm, there's like I want to say because like there's not like a single person that I can just look at and be like, yeah, it was you. Like it's kind of just like an amalgamation of different YouTubers that I really enjoyed. Like there's one guy, his name is Cybershell 13. He makes a bunch of Sonic videos. I really like his content. Growing up, I used to watch a lot of the animator Ed's World a lot.
Okay.
He's this British animator. I really liked his stuff. Um, And yeah, and just like and probably and then probably just smaller YouTubers like um what is it? Uh I can't think of them now, but yeah, just like smaller YouTubers and stuff that I like. Yeah, because like I kind of just see around what's around me, and then like if I like what somebody's doing, then I'll just be like, okay, like noted. Like especially like it doesn't really matter what how big or small they are. Like just like as long as you can just take some value from that, and I guess that's for anybody listening that is aspiring to do YouTube. That's one thing that you can do is just like take a look around, like see what people are doing, and just like obviously you don't have to copy them, you don't have to do exactly what they're doing, but just see how they're doing things and just like figure out and just kind of like think, okay, well, like why are they doing like that? Like why are they doing that way instead of like this way? And then
Right.
like your stuff will just naturally get better because it's just the longer you do something, the better you get at it. It's just how it
Absolutely.
works.
No, it's a good point. It's like, all those directors say, it's like, don't go to film school, go to movies, right? It's like, watch how people make stuff. And then, you can kind of apply that to your own craft. And as you just mentioned, you're going to get better at it as time goes on.
Yeah, because a lot of the greatest like either musicians or filmmakers or like producers or whatever, like a lot of these guys didn't go to school, or not a lot of these guys, but like a good handful of these guys, they didn't like study their craft like that. It was kind of just like, okay, like I had a passion for it growing up, or I just figured it out, and then they end up making really good stuff. Like there are still a lot of really good musicians that have no idea what music theory is. Like they just don't even know music theory,
Right.
and or how to play an instrument, and it's like, but they're still out here creating really really neat stuff, and it's like, okay, well, it very much comes down to just doing, rather than just studying. Like it's the term over analysis paralysis, where it's just like you just kind of just over analyze everything, and you're like, okay, it has to be this, and and this is like the complete opposite of like doing nothing. So it's like you need to do nothing, or you can overanalyze way too much, and then either way you're still at a stagnant. But it's like if you just want to get better at something or just do something, then it's like, yeah, just do it. Just
Right.
do
No,
it,
that's
and you'll just get better naturally.
exactly. It's a great point. And, I feel like a lot of people are just sort of like intimidated by that just first step of doing things. It's always just like, oh, am I going to fail? Oh, is this going to go right? It's like we always think about the wrong things rather than just doing it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what stops a lot of people from really, in my opinion, at least reaching their true creative freedom, I guess. They're just so,
Right, right.
just the fear of doing it to the point where they don't.
Just
So,
yeah,
no,
just don't do anything, for
right,
sure, for sure.
exactly. Just keep persisting, try, and just never give up with it. That's what got me here. I mean, that's certainly what got you here. So, you know,
Tell me about it.
exactly. But why animation? Like, why did you choose to do that for like some of like the animations that you're doing now, and just whatever else you've been doing with your YouTube career?
So I've always had a passion for art, just in general. Just even growing up, like I used to make comic books. Like I used to make my own like little comic books in elementary school. Um, but like I always had a passion for art. Like I love art. Like I wanted to be an artist growing up. And then as time went on, I was kind of like, okay, I don't really know if that's super feasible because my art isn't the greatest, like quote unquote. But like it's not like traditional art or whatever. So I'm like, all right, let me just let me just focus on something else. And then like my other passion was equally as big passion was music. So I'm like, all right, well then I'll just focus on music instead. But as time went on and as I was like I wanted to try YouTube again, I was kind of like, all right, this is like I was noticing, I was like, okay, well, I want to stand out. Like that was the main reason. Like I just want to stand out. Because they're like, okay, well, like let me do something that like nobody else is really doing in terms of music. So and then one thing I noticed was yeah, just animation, and like people have the little commentary, the little I think they're called rant sonas, where it's just like they just have their little caricature, and then they just animate them doing wacky stuff.
Right.
But like but like just that by itself is kind of boring. So I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do that, then like I want to put my own spin on it. Like I want to do something that's different than everybody else. So like I'm looking around, like I'm seeing like, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. Everyone's kind of, they're standing in front of the camera and they just say, and they go, this album is great. And I go, all right, cool. But like, I can hear that from anybody else. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, if I want people to come to me, like I want them to come for something different, for like a unique, kind of like a pseudo unique experience, at least when it comes to doing me talking about music and doing music stuff on YouTube. So I'm like, all right, um, yeah, let me figure something out. And then I went back. That was when I went back and I said, oh yeah, I like art. Let's just put that in there. And then a couple brainstorming sessions later, and we're here now.
There you go. Exactly. No, and of course, it's just cool to kind of see like how the animation has sort of progressed on your channel. When you were doing like video essays, there was that in there, but it was I guess in my opinion sort of like crude. It wasn't like as fully formed as like some of the stuff you've been doing with like the basically stuff. So it's been
For
fun to kind
sure,
of
for
watch that
sure.
progression happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's been so fun and so crazy to see it from my perspective, because like I was working on these videos, and like obviously, yeah, like as I'm working on, because like I haven't drawn or like animated up until this point in like
Right.
years. So like just to wake up and be like, okay, you know what we're going all in on an art channel. Like that's so, like anybody else will tell you like that's so insane. But it's like, okay, but maybe it's part of that insanity which will make it make it pop. So I'm like, yeah, let's just go and do it.
Right.
So I yeah, and just like just seeing my progression, like you can even see like my progression in terms of animation in like the basically series in the first 5 episodes, where from Kendrick to Tyler, because like by the Able one, by number 4, with the weekend, like I started coloring. Like I had to color that one because I remember I had to color that one specifically because it took place at night, and I was like, okay, if I just do a gray background, it's not gonna look good. So I'm like, all right, let me color the background to actually have it give it color. But then I was like, okay, well, if I'm coloring the background, then like I gotta color other stuff because that'll just look weird. And like I was doing that, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually adding color to this now. Oh shit.
Right. You got
Oh wait,
into it.
can I curse? Actually, I didn't even ask.
Right.
I probably shouldn't. I don't want to get you demonetized.
Well,
And,
but no,
I
that's an
understand
interesting
the
point there,
point.
especially. Yeah, it's great to see that. But I was interested in just kind of hearing, you were doing video essays there for a while, but then, as you put it, you did this in your free time. The Basically series is how it started.
Mm.
How did the idea kind of come into your head? Like, okay, yeah, today I'm gonna take this really popular album and I'm gonna tell the entire story in 30 seconds, or at least my interpretation of it.
So that was interesting. So I was kind of so up until that point, I was doing the videos that like I just wanted to make. I wanted to do video essays on stuff that was like, but I was also trying to um get something that would, appeal to people. And I was like, all right, well, I was doing what is it? Yeah, I was doing these videos, and it was nice and all. And then at some point, I did the expensive vinyls videos. And that was really cool. And I got up to like 6,000 subscribers at that point. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I like this is nice. But I was also like, this is nice, but I kind of want I need to speed this up, because I had a goal set in place for me to get to by the end of the year, which was 100,000 subscribers. And I said, so I was like, all right, I need to figure out something to do this. So I did my first vinyl video that got like 2,000 views, and I did the second one and it got like 1,500. And I said, okay, I gotta reevaluate. So I sent out a community post, and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna be away from the mic just for like the week, but like I'm just gonna try and whip up something just to keep you guys going. um in reality, what I was actually doing was I stepped back so I could brainstorm a viral video
Okay.
100%. And I was like, all right, I need something to like really kind of be out there. Because I was noticing, for me, I was kind of doing it backwards, where a lot of my videos are nice and like people enjoy them, and like I enjoyed making them and watching them. But the problem was nobody was really watching them because it's about stuff that like you have to know what it is I'm talking about in order to get any enjoyment from the video. So
Right.
like from that point, I was making like Daft Punk videos and like, doing a video on like Lil Nas X and his antics and like Drake's new us EP or whatever. And it's like, yeah, these are all nice, but it's like if you don't care about Drake, you're not gonna watch the video. If you don't care about
Right.
Lil Nas, you're not gonna watch the video. You don't care about, if you don't even know what a Daft Punk is. People still ask me what is a Daft Punk, and I say, if you don't know by now, I can't help you. But
Right.
um, yeah. So I'm like, all right, if I'm doing these videos, and like, and that's why I went over to my the vinyl videos, because I'm like, all right, let me switch over and like let me try and do stuff that to appeal to like a bigger audience, just for a little bit. And then like and then like I can do whatever. I can go back, I can keep it going, whatever. um I did those videos, and then those got even less views than the other stuff. So I'm like, okay, I need to really reevaluate. So yeah, that's when I stepped back, and then I said, all right, well, yeah, well, like what do I have to do to get something like popping? And then I was taking that week off, and I was just brainstorming, and I think by the second day, that was when I was figuring out stuff, and I was like, okay, well, what if I take an album and cut it up into, and I was telling this to my buddy, and I was like, okay, I have an idea. And he's like, and I'm like, I want to take an album, I want to cut it up, and then I want to reshuffle it to make it like a story. And I was explaining it to him, and he was like, okay. And I was like, I just didn't understand. So I'm like, all right, okay, I'm just gonna do it and then I'll show you. So because that's the thing with a lot of my ideas. Like I have a lot of ideas, but like I'm not very good at just explaining stuff to people. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, let me just do it and then I'll show you. And then if it's good, if it's whack, then you can tell me. So I spent that week, and then I made, fun fact, I actually made the audios first before I drew anything. I made all
Okay.
the audios first, and then but to decide what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, like I want to do an album that's like really, really big, but is like kind of focused on hip hop still, because like I'm mainly a hip hop guy. Um, and I was like, okay, like, yeah, what's like a big album that like a lot of people know of, that like has a lot of like appeal, and like just a decent album all around. And I was like, oh yeah, my boy Kung Fu Kenny, he released an album in 2017.
Yep.
So
He did.
so I was like, all right, yeah. So I did his audio, I did his first, and then I think like those next couple of days, I did all the audios for everybody else. So I did Kanye, I did two of the Tylers, and I did one on the weekend, because I'm like, okay, I want one that's not hip hop, just to see what I can do with it.
Right.
So I did all the audios, and then I remember I was like at my workplace, and I was just like listening to them, because like at my job, like you could just listen to music and everything while you're working, because it's
Mhm.
really low effort. So I was like, I'm listening to these audios, and like I'm just listening to them and just like hearing and just kind of envisioning how I want it to play out in my head. And yeah, so then like that night, I busted open my animation program, and then I started to get to work. And I think in like 2 days, 2 to 3 days, I think I finished the Kendrick one. I finished Kendrick, and it was like 30 seconds long. And I'm like, I want something short, I want something shareable, I want something that people will look at and be like, cool. Like I wanted, so it's like, and like I was kind of doing it where I'm like, you don't even have to know who or what the artist is to find enjoyment out of the video. That was one of my philosophies while I was working on it, because I'm like, yeah, this is cool and all, but again, like I don't want it to run into the problem where it's like, okay, if you don't even know what this is, then like, or who this is, then it's like, okay, then
Right.
there's all these specific references, all that, all that nonsense. So I'm like, all right, let me just make it really streamlined, make it really just easily digestible. It's nice, short, it's cool. So yeah, I mean, I made Kendrick, and then I showed it to my same buddy, and I'm like, "This is what I'm talking about," and he was like, all right, yeah, that's pretty good. I was like, all right, now the real test. So I remember I put it up on what is it? Yeah, after I finished it, I put it up on YouTube and I put it up on TikTok. I made a TikTok account and I was like,
Okay.
all right, let me try. Like, sure, why not? Because up until that point, I was like, shit, I don't care about TikTok, but I'm like, all right, sure, let's put it on TikTok.
There you go.
And and then I think by the end of the day, it was at like 12,000 views on YouTube, and I was like, okay, that's pretty nice.
Oh shit.
But it was at 100,000 views on TikTok. Oh, 100,000, my bad. It was at 100,000 views on TikTok, and I was like, oh. So I was like, all right, let's cool. Let's just see where it goes. So I'm like, all right, I guess this is cool. So then I had all the audios laying like ready. So I was like, all right, now I know this is right. I know this is bumping. So I'll just go and just animate the rest of them.
There you
The
go.
next
Wow.
five, and there they go.
Wow. That's I really didn't know that was the story behind it. I hope this isn't bad research on my part, but I didn't even know there was an Only Small Bites TikTok until now.
So yeah, no, it's completely fine. Like I don't advertise any of my socials, like at all. At least not right now,
Right.
other than my Twitter, because like my Twitter is like okay, you can just message me easily on Twitter, and I'll just open it and every now and then. But everything else, like I kind of keep on the down low.
Yeah.
But I guess until now. But yeah, I have a TikTok. Whoever's listening to this, and they go, "What? Well, he has a TikTok. You didn't tell me." I have a TikTok, but I have a TikTok. I have an Instagram, and I have a Reddit.
Oh, okay. I didn't that also wow, another shocker there for me. Didn't know that either.
So yeah, and like yeah, but again, like I don't tell anybody. It's very much in like all of my bios are just like, hey, if you found this, like congratulations, you're in the secret club.
There you
But
go.
but yeah, I have all the socials. I just don't advertise them at least right now.
That makes
'Cause
sense. I just, I haven't been on TikTok in so long, you know what I mean? Like I had it a little bit for like marketing my own videos, but I didn't really see a purpose in it. It's just not really like it definitely it's viable. And again, it works for some people. I mean, look at your
for
channel.
sure, for sure.
I kind of
Like
made
tick.
some
Oh,
goofy
sorry, cut you
videos
off.
back in the day and they blew up. But, you know, again, it's just I don't really think it works for me and what I'm doing. But for you,
Right,
it
right.
works seems to work very well.
So that's fair. I know TikTok it favors shorter videos.
Exactly.
So like I knew that going in, and I was like, all right, and like it already obviously it helps that my video is super short.
Right.
So I'm like, um, yeah. So I was like, TikTok is nice. TikTok is cool. Like yeah, obviously yeah, I favor shorter videos, and I'm like, all right, well let me try and use that to my advantage because I know it's TikTok is very interesting because the TikTok algorithm, their algorithm is a lot different from like YouTube and everything else, where like it's a lot easier to blow up on TikTok. You don't have to have a following. Whereas like YouTube and Twitch, like it's significantly harder to
Right.
kind of get bigger on these platforms because you have to everything is external. Like YouTube and like Twitch, like they like it when um you have like a big external push coming to your content, and then like in terms of people go it goes, oh well, I guess people like this, so and then it just puts it in front of more people.
There you go.
On TikTok, yeah, you don't have to do as much, whereas you can kind of just post your video and if people like it and it just gets picked up, then it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm a TikTok celebrity now.
There
Let's
you go.
get to brand deals.
Right. It's less
But
of an
like
investment, I guess, to your point, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you just kind of put a video out there and see where it goes. And, in some cases they'll kind of go slow and then out of nowhere they'll just get a lot of views, or just right out of the gate they'll shoot up to, in your case, 100,000 in, a very short amount of time. So,
for sure.
it's just kind of one of those things where you can just put it out without really like much pressure at all. But to your point, I thought that was interesting. Like, YouTube and Twitch are more like of an external, like externally motivated. So it's like, you could promote it everywhere, like on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, wherever, Reddit, you know what I mean?
Mm,
So it's like, and then if they see people are going from an outer source, they're like,
from
okay,
somewhere else, right?
we're gonna, send this to wider people. So like a wider group of people.
Yeah, wider honesty. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's just really interesting seeing it that way. Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
mm,
But I
yeah.
guess switching gears here, what is the like significance behind the channel's name, Only Small Bites?
Ooh, yeah. I knew this question was I knew this question was
Yeah,
coming.
well, I mean, I have to ask.
You have to. I completely understandable. Okay. I did actually prepare for this question too.
Okay.
Okay. So for the exact like meaning behind it, and like where like it's like origin and everything, I can't tell you. I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
saving it for a later date.
All right.
But what I can tell you is I did get the inspiration from it from a TV show.
Okay.
From this one TV show that I used to watch. Um, it doesn't have the greatest reputation online. Just in terms of it just being just a really shoddy TV show. YouTube, I said shoddy. Okay, don't hit the demo button on them. but but yeah, like yeah, yeah, it's from a TV show. It doesn't have the greatest reputation. But it's just a goofy show that I used to watch.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just a reference to that. Uh and yeah,
He's
that's
keeping it
that
vague. I get it. I
that
get it. If
that's
you don't
all
want
I
to,
could say.
all right. All right. I will leave that up to you. How much more do you want to share? But we'll move on here. Just curious to know a little bit more about like tropes in your videos. Why do
Mm.
videos like start with door slams? So many slapsticky moments and time loops. Just tell me a little bit more about like all of those things and where they originated.
So it's funny, like the first video, it had Kendrick busting through the door.
Right.
Mainly because I was like, okay, well, he's going to school. That's funny. He's just in school. So yeah, let's make it just he kicks through the door. It's just we're already off to a great start.
Right.
For Kanye, I I had it so his album was on Jesus. So I'm like, all right, if I have him kick through the door, Jesus is a very aggressive album. So like it just makes sense to just also to match that energy because he comes in with the on-site beat. So I'm like, all right, uh cool. Like it's just super aggressive in your face. So naturally just make it in your face. Funny enough, the one right after that was Tyler. I did
Right.
Tyler Flower Boy, and that one actually doesn't start with a door slam. That one actually, it's the only one in the entire series that I have that he just opens the door normally.
Right.
So like his video just opens normally, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I got like comments about it. They're like, hey, there's no door slam here. So I'm like, all right, all right. So
Now
the
you have
next
to do
one,
it. Yeah.
seriously. So the next one I did Abel. Yeah, but it was funny. It was all fun. It was all fun. But yeah, I did Abel, and then I was like, all right, well, I guess this is what's going. So and like it's funny because like it's like the video immediately starts and just right out the gate, like just boom. You're like, oh. so so I was like, all right, cool. It's just very attention grabbing in a sense. So I'm like, all right, cool. I would just well, let's just start it with that. And then yeah, from that point on, I'm like, all right, I guess this is it's also a good introduction for the artist. So I'm like, just give the artist an excuse to just come through the door
There
and
you
like
go.
you just immediately see the artist. So I'm like, all right, it's cool. It just makes sense.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I'd say that's pretty much where the trope came from.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
it's
trying to
cool to
think
kind
of
of see how again, like, not only the door slam, but like, the time loops and warps and like, even just like all
mm,
the slapsticky moments you just throw in there. Like it's like, rappers beating up other rappers. It's just one of those things you would see in a fantasy, but again, you've sort of brought that to life, which is really cool.
for sure. Like, and that was the thing because like as time went on and I was doing more of them, I was kind of like, all right, well, what else can I do? Because the thing is, like, I don't like doing the same thing for a long time.
Right.
And like I've noticed that about me, where I'm like I like to keep things going, you know, like I like to keep pushing, I like keep trying new ideas and like just doing new stuff. And like I think that's part of where some of the inspiration for the 30-second series came from. I think in the series, like by the time I got to the fifth one, I was kind of like, all right, well, what else can I do? Like, what else can we do with this? So I'm like, all right, well then let's bring it. Like we already have a bunch of cartoon characters in rapper form or
Right.
rappers in cartoon form, excuse me. And like, yeah, I was like, all right, well, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna be a cartoon, well then let's be a cartoon. So like so like that's when you get the slapstick, you get all the ridiculous moments, all the physics bending nonsense. It's like, and that's what I that's and even going back, this even goes back to but to one of your earlier questions were about why animation. I like animation because it allows you to do things that you couldn't normally do
Hmm.
with traditional cinema.
Right.
As in like you can, you can break the laws of physics, you can do dumb stuff like time loops and like rappers beating up each other and like people just, you throw a, what is it, Tyler throws a dice and it explodes like it,
Right.
like obviously, yeah, you can do all this stuff, with cameras and all that, but I'm like, it's just easier to do in art and animation because you just have to draw it. And yeah, like I like animation in that sense where it's like it just allows you to just do much more with the medium and what you're given, like or like it allows you to do it a little bit easier.
Right.
Obviously you still got to draw it and like animate and all that stuff, and that obviously that's tons of work. But like
It takes way more time than shooting it with a camera, but it,
shooting with a camera, but like
right.
I just like the outcome. There's something about the outcome about it. It's just appealing to me. Where it's like,
Absolutely.
for sure, like like, you can have these like impossible matchups just a little bit easier. Like you can have, MF Doom getting robbed by Kanye West in a bank.
Right.
And it's like, so it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But
And yeah, it's all really cool, especially I feel like animation just kind of gets a bad rap by like most of the public. It's like it's just reserved for being like, a kind of a kiddie thing, you know what I mean? It's just
kid
like,
thing,
you
right,
go like
right.
all the movies that are coming out, that are animated are for kids usually, but like there's
Mm,
a lot of great animation that can appeal to, teenagers, adults, anybody, you know what I mean? It shouldn't just be restricted to just kind of being this like it is kind of a nichey thing, but it shouldn't be like, gate kept. I think everybody should be able to experience it and appreciate it for what it's worth. Because as you mentioned, you can make so many things possible that you can't really capture with a camera. And yes, it does take more work, but it's sort of like, as you mentioned, also, it's a very rewarding process to kind of see all of your kind of creations come out on the screen.
right, right. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And like I feel like people are hmm, I don't know, because animation, at least it's been mostly focused on kids, but like that's also what a lot of the public sees. Like, because like
Right.
you also have places like Adult Swim and their latest show, Smiling Friends, huge success.
Yeah,
People love
sure.
it, and it's like what is it? Yeah, like it's an animated show, like shows like, yeah, Smiling Friends, Archer, BoJack Horseman,
Rick and
Boss,
Morty,
like these like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, like they have like like they have shows that are catered towards like a more mature audience that are all done in animation. But yeah, like just the stigma is like, you're right, it's like just a stigma is just around it. That's like, hey, like this is like for kids, and that's why like a lot of people miss out on like a lot of like these really good shows, because it's like you see it and you're like, oh, okay, like I don't really like that style, or like I don't like the way this looks, and like it should be live action or whatever, and then people skip it or whatnot, and like, that's good, that's completely fine if you want to do that. um but yeah, it's really interesting to see it that way.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a bummer. And yeah, as you mentioned also, and I didn't really talk about, there are a lot of great adult animated shows that, they're becoming slowly more popular, but, again, it's a bummer, just generally
Mm-hmm.
speaking, that people just kind of don't really give animation a second look. It's just sort of like, oh, hey, like this, is it really going to be that good or whatever? And it's just, you kind of just don't like take a risk on it. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
no, it's tough, but hopefully animation kind of gets the love it deserves, because it's a really great art form, and there are a lot of really great creators out there like yourself. And this is kind
Thank
of
you.
a question directed towards your biggest project here, the Only Small Bites movie. Like, tell me a little bit more about like the process of making it, because it took quite a while. You know, I'm sure all of your fans were kind of
Oh
like, "When's it coming
man.
out? When's it coming out?" So, just interested to kind of hear like how it differed from some of the videos that you've made in the past.
So, hmm. So I had the idea for that movie. The idea first came about, I want to say after I did I think either the Gorillas video
Uh huh.
or the Mad Villainy video. That was when it started like really brewing. Up before that, like around Frank Ocean's Blonde and everything, like I kind of was like I was just tossing around the idea, but around Mad Villainy, around Donda, that was when like I was really like, okay, I want to do this. So I did and like up until that point, because you can even see it in my community posts, where up until that point I had these little street lineups where I would do the artists, and then in just giving as they would come out, as the episodes would come out, so like Frank Ocean and Gorillas and like MF Doom, and as they were coming out, like I had them all stand on this wall.
Right.
And in my post, like I was talking about, yeah, I had the for this final like batch of episodes, I was like, okay, I have this idea to do this big grand finale, but I'll do it if we hit the like goal, like 15K for each video. And as they were going, they were doing good, and they're doing good, and like people are enjoying them, and like they're all hitting the goals, except for Gorillas, which
Okay.
is understandable because I'm like, all right, that's fair. Nobody really knows Gorillas like that, because like a lot of the people who watch me, like I'm assuming, are
Or like
just
rap fans. Yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, are all hip hop fans, and I'm like, that's cool, that's completely fair, that's completely fine. But like that's it, and then that's also I'm like that's also where I was like, all right, I want to do other stuff. Like I want to like try and like do stuff that's not just hip hop, because I don't really like being just completely boxed in to do one thing. Um but so I'm like, all right, let me yeah, let me just try doing grills. And like, yeah, it took a while. It did eventually hit it though.
Right.
So let's be thankful for that. But yeah, like I was doing those, and I was like, all right, cool. But I have the idea for the movie. So after Drake, I was like, all right, let's let's really do this. So after Drake came out, it was October. And then during October, literally for the entire month of October, I was doing all the audio.
Right.
So like all the audio for the movie was just the entire month of October was just dedicated to making all the audio. So like doing all the clips, because I'm like, if I'm gonna do this movie, like I want it to be kind of long. Like it was originally supposed to just be 10 minutes. That
Mhm.
was the original time. Like I was like shooting for 10 minutes. So I was like, all right, cool. um, but then I wanted to have it where the artists segments, those were I wanted them to be around a minute long, because I'm like, all right, let's like match it with Drake and everything. Let's like make it big. And as I was doing them, I had like five. And then as I was doing it, I was like, oh, I put them all on the timeline, and I said, all these together are 8 minutes, which is the entire length of the movie. And
Right.
that's not even counting the second half that I wanted to do with
There you go.
me in it. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a little bit longer. So I was working, and then after October, November is when I started animating, and I was doing the intro, and I did and just writing out some basic script stuff, because I wrote a script on like a Google Doc,
Uh-huh.
and just about how I wanted it all to play out. And yeah, and like I was working on it, and like middle of November, I got like half of it done. And then I was kind of like, all right, I haven't been online in a really long time.
Mhm.
I have two options. I could either do like a general update, or I can just keep working until this is done. And then obviously I chose the latter, which looking back on it now, it's kind of like maybe I should have just gave it a little update or something first. But like, yeah, no, I was doing it, and I was working on it, and then just all throughout November, I was just whole animating. And then December hit, and I was like, okay, I want a, or no, not even, no, before December, actually. This was around Donda, actually.
Mhm.
Donda, when I did the Donda video and I was still like plotting out the movie, I knew I wanted to have a cameo in it. I wanted to have a cameo from somebody. And I was originally trying to get, what was his name? Uh, there was a couple people that I wanted, or that I was gonna try and get for it, but I specifically I was looking for a rough criminal.
Right. Great
Uh,
guy. Got to try.
so I knew I do see you have some experience with him.
Sure do. Yes, yes, I do. He's a great guy. It was funny to kind of hear him in, your video, because I've known him as kind of just this kind of goofy guy. He's pretty well spoken though, and it was just kind of cool to
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's a
deliver
great
a
guy.
real like scripted line of dialogue. It was fun. So
So yeah, I was just like, I know I want him in this movie for sure, because like he does his short videos, and like I think it'll be really nice. It'll just come
it's
full
a match
circle.
made in heaven, basically.
And then the other person I was trying to get, I was asking Anthony Fantano to see
Oh,
if he wanted to do it.
I'm
So,
sure he was hard to get.
so I'm like, just like shoot your shot, see what happens.
At least you tried, right? I mean, it's like even if he doesn't respond, at least you tried.
To try, and that's all you can really do, right? Just like, a lot of people, like, they're just focused on not trying, and it goes back to what we were talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
exactly what we were talking about earlier.
Or it's just like, yeah, man, like the most anyone can say is no. Like
Right. And a lot of
the
people are afraid of hearing that. It's just like we kind of live in a culture where it's just like, failure is not like a good thing. Like you
yeah,
shouldn't
like it's not seen
know.
as anything to be like noteworthy, but it's like, no, like failure is good because it allows you to grow and allows you to look back and see, okay, like let's try and do things differently so you can
Right.
learn from that.
Exactly. And it's an important thing that people need to learn. And unfortunately, it's just all about, okay, let's succeed here so we can move on to the next thing and the next thing. We can never be stuck in one thing for too long, because it's just like people just look at us differently. And I think that's sort of disappointing. So, even if you're just
Yeah.
asking a really big content creator, hey, do you want to be in my video? And they don't say any, you know what I mean? Even if they say no, like it's like,
Like if
okay,
they don't say anything, like it's nothing off of my back. It's fine.
right. I
Like
mean, you
just
tried, you put it out there, you took a shot, and like you just move on. You still have a great product regardless. So, one cameo shouldn't just make or break your video, your channel, or whatever.
so yeah, no, for sure. So I was like, all right, that's fine. But Ruff was super excited to do it. So I was like, all right. So like, yeah, Anthony, yeah, I don't even know if he even saw any of my messages, but Ruff was super excited to do it. And I was like, all right, cool. So like, yeah, I messaged him, and then I was kind of just like, yeah, I'm doing all the plotting and everything right now. And then like I was kind of just like radio silent for like 2 months, and then
Right.
I messaged him back, and I was like, hey, do you still want to do it? And he was like, yeah, I'm still 100% down. So I'm like, yes. So like I drew him his mock character, and then I drew up his mock-up character, and then I said, all right, this is what you look like. And then I colored his pants differently, and then he was like, can you make it like look like jeans, because it kind of looks like I'm not wearing pants. And I was like, understandable. So I fixed up his character, and then like it was cool. I gave him his line. He was super excited to do it. I'm really happy how it turned out. And I was like, yes, collab, yes. So I was like, all right, cool. Then I put him in, I animated him. He was really happy how it turned out. I'm really happy he enjoyed it. Um, but like, yeah, like just doing it was really just not the collab, but like just doing the video was just really interesting, because it was just so much longer than what I was doing. Because like this was just mainly just pure animation. Like it's literally just 20 minutes of all animation, and like
Right.
it's pretty much all done by me. Not pretty much, it is all done by me. Like so like I did basically everything in the video. The only thing that I didn't do is I had some backgrounds done from somebody, maybe just like a couple backgrounds here and there just to kind of speed things up,
Mhm.
but they weren't colored, so like I had to do all the coloring.
Yeah.
So like it basically like 99.9% of this video is just all of me just animating on my little animation tablet here. And just like, yeah, it was a ton of work. And like it was definitely an eye opener, because I did that and I said, wow, I'm never doing this ever again. But like or just animating an entire big movie like that, at least by myself. Like um I think next time, if I were to do this approach again, I would definitely get like, I definitely like want a team or have people around me to just like bounce off of, just to make it more, just to make the process more streamlined.
Right.
But
That's what's hard
yeah.
about being like an independent creator. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing the job of like 10 to 20 people all by yourself. It's like you have to write it, you have to animate it, you have to color it, you have to draw. It's not like you have like,
Right,
five people
right.
doing one thing, five people doing another thing, a couple of writers and voice, whatever. So you know what I mean? It's just it's not an easy process. So it was really cool to just see how you were able to kind of bring that all together, even if it did take 2 months. It's an incredible final product, and you should be really proud of what you did with it.
So thank you. I'm very happy with how it came out. I'm very happy with how it came out. I'm glad people enjoyed it. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm just glad it came out that year.
Right.
Granted, it was on like the 30th, but I was like,
You made it.
yeah, I do want, like, that was my goal. I'm like, I wanted this out before the end of the year,
Right.
and I did get it out before the end of the year.
You
And
met
I
you
said
met your
January. I'll use January to just kind of just take it easy.
There you go. That makes sense. But now that we're kind of into the thick of 2022 here, just curious to hear some goals for the channel. Perhaps a little about this new series. How much can you share? I don't know, but just
Hmm.
some general goals for the channel.
All right. All right, everybody, strap into your virtual seatbelts. um, so so I have some goals. I have some
I
things
would
that I
assume
want
yes.
to. I have some things that I want to see play out this year. Um, with this new series specifically, I want to try and, or not try. I'm going what I'm going to do is I'm going to really attempt to push what music on YouTube is now. Like a lot of the things that, at least for me, like a lot of the things that I was doing, like 30, like in doing the 30-second series, it became really apparent to me that there was a specific niche that was missing on music YouTube, like on
Right.
the music side of YouTube. Um, and like I've known this for a while, and like that was one of the main things that I wanted to um see and do with my channel. It was to solve this kind of pseudo problem. And like I was really trying to, like, I was really trying to think and like brainstorm and all this stuff, and just try and figure out what it is that I wanted to do with my channel just
Right.
as a whole.
That makes sense.
Because like, yeah, you can do one thing and like it's cool, but like that's kind of the problem that a lot of kind of YouTubers kind of fall into, where it's they do one thing and then it'll get really big, and then they kind of just keep doing it, and then nothing, and then you start to stagnate.
Right.
uh, for me, like I was saying earlier, like I've never been about that. I've always been about growth. I've always been about just trying new things. If you mess up, like, it's fine, you learn from it and you keep going. um for me, I I was just really been I've been brainstorming this idea, or these like mainly ideas for a while, ever since maybe like 20, maybe like, maybe not 2020, but maybe like middle of last year. like middle of last year, even before I did the 30-second series.
Okay.
Like these for this new series specifically, I want to, yeah, like I want to tackle one big thing that's been missing in YouTube music for a while. And it has to do with fun. Just straight up, just straight fun. Like one thing that I notice on YouTube and just with music is that a lot of the stuff is more or less the same in terms of like, it's you watch a video about something and it's like, okay, it's either like an album review or just like a video essay on why so and so is the greatest or why so and so is the best album. And like all these videos are really nice and like they're good. Like I watch them and they're good watches. They're really nice. They're really informative. But like a lot of it is kind of just stuff that's been said already. And it's like, okay, and it's just like, we know, yes, we know Dark Fantasy is great. Like I love Kanye. I love Kanye,
Right.
but like, yes, I like Dark Fantasy. It's a great album, but like, I know that it's his magnum opus. I know that he went to
You don't
like,
need
I know
me
all this stuff already.
telling you the same thing. I completely.
And like, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. But it's just for me, like, if you're going to do that, at least for me, if you're going to do that, um, try and do a spin on it. Like at least like if you're gonna just say the same stuff, like you can do it in your own way,
Right.
that's different from everybody else. And whether that be your personality or just like what you do or just like how you present stuff, it can be anything.
Right.
And but yeah, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, all right, this is all cool and all, but like, where's the fun? Like where's like the people going and be like, okay, like people will be like, this album is really cool and it's really nice and like it's supersonic soundscape, and I'm over here and I'm going, hey, that's cool and all, but like this album cover has a picture of like a butt on it, like that's funny. So like, like just like, yeah, just doing stuff, and just like focusing and just like talking about music in a new way. That's my goal, and that's what I want to do. Like, so like this year, like I'm very focused on just being able and like shedding light on talking about music in a new way. um that'd be a good way. That I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really important. I just feel like even to what you were saying just a minute ago about, people just get an idea and they run it and sometimes it works, but sometimes, you kind of just it's hard to kind of keep that, sustainable.
The
So
momentum going for
right,
sure.
yeah, exactly. You could have one video that really blows up and I think that was smart of you to kind of shift to you sort of realize that, hey, this idea worked, but I want to do more than that now that I have an audience or
Mm,
whatever. I'm not really sure what it was,
mm.
but it was really cool to kind of see that finale. And this is now a new era. And again,
This one, the
I'm excited to see
bites
what's going to come.
era.
Can't really share a crazy lot. I don't blame you, but it's going to be fun. I'm excited for the new era of the channel and everything that comes with it. And then last thing I have here for today, is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody that's watching this video right now?
I've started a lot of questions with that
I'm sorry.
noise.
I'm sorry. This is the cherry on top of the final philosophical.
So no, for sure, for sure. Do what you want to do and enjoy doing it. Part of making content, in any form, or even just consuming content in any form, it all stems from you and what you like and what you like to do, what you don't like to do. And if you're making content, this is for anybody who's interested in, because I get a lot of messages of like, hey, like, like I want to make my own animations, or like you've inspired me to do this and that, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's so cool.
Right.
So keep doing what you're doing. um if you stick to it long enough, eventually it will pay off. um I'm saying a lot as well. But yeah, I'm very excited for this new year, for what I have in store, what I have
Don't mind.
planned. I think that a lot of you, I think that you guys will really enjoy it. Like as I'm working on it, like I'm really enjoying it. um, and yeah, and don't be afraid to shake things up a little bit. Don't be afraid to just try something new, and just do something, you know, that's different, because that I think that's important. I think that's how things continue to evolve. I think that's how things keep moving. And I believe that, when people share their ideas, and they're like legitimately good ideas, that they should be focused on. You get a lot of people who have really good ideas, or just like want to do things that they're really passionate about, and they always kind of just continuously get shot down. They kind of just are always being put under like this microscope. And it's like, if you're not doing this right, if you're not doing this at this time, if you're not here by this time, then like you're doing it wrong, you
Right.
messed up, you think. But a lot of this stuff, when it comes to doing anything, like it's not a race, it's a marathon.
There you go.
You Everything takes time. uh it took me half a year to get something that was like, oh, okay, like people like this.
Right.
um like I was doing a bunch of stuff beforehand. I was doing a bunch of videos on instrumentals. I was doing videos on, artists. I made an Eminem video. Everybody hated it, and I said, all right. So like, like it's like, you just have to keep going. Like you just got to keep things moving. Like, don't fret too much on failures. Don't fret too much on things in the past, because you'll never grow from there. Like you'll never evolve from that.
There you go.
And I
Very,
think that's
very
important.
wise words.
So yeah, I'm kind of going on a tangent right now. I
No, I mean
apologize.
it's all really
But
it's great. It's great words of advice to leave anybody with. Anybody who's made it this far into the video. I mean, this is a really great piece of advice that you got to just apply. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't feel like you have to be at a certain spot. Just do what you love. I really like that
just
philosophy. It's a great way to
just
end
do
things.
it. So
Absolutely.
not Nike though. This is the bites Nike. Just do it. But like, yeah, just do what you love what you do. And yeah, just be on the lookout for what's coming from me down the pipeline. If you're so interested,
Oh yeah.
if you're so as to be inclined to be interested to me, then yeah, get it's good. It's good stuff. Get excited. It's good stuff. I'm very excited to show you guys. I'm very excited what I'm working on. I think it'll be really different to what, or I think it'll have a different tinge to what people are doing today. So and that's mainly what I want to do. That's mainly my my goal, is to just try and shake things up this year. Really get it going. I'm also trying to hit 1 million by the end of the year. So let's get it. That's another thing.
Yeah, well, it's a goal. I mean, it can happen, right? I mean, you did it last year, so only time will tell if you'll be able to reach the end goal of 1 million. But Small Bites, thank you so much again for your time. Everybody that's watching this, whether you came from his channel, my channel, whatever, make sure you go check out everything that he's doing. Links are going to be down in the description. Again, thank you so much for your time, and see you again on the next one.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Everybody listening right now, subscribe to him. Subscribe right now. There's a big red button on the bottom of his account. Okay. You need to hit it. You need to hit it.
There you
Hit the
go.
button.